Okay, so let's get into this. It's a wild story of pure ambition, a whole lot of trash, and just the brutal, unforgiving reality of the open ocean. And this isn't just another survival challenge, you know? It's a real look at what happens when a group of friends pushes themselves way, way past the breaking point. And boom, there it is. That's the whole premise. No rescue team is on the way, there's no secret escape hatch. Just one single, insane goal. Build a boat from whatever you can find and sail for miles across the Pacific. I mean, the stakes were set from the very first second. So who are these guys who are going to try and become master sailors overnight? Well, this is where the story gets really, really interesting, because they aren't seasoned adventurers, and that really gets to the heart of the challenge. The big question from the get-go was simple. Could a group of YouTubers, guys known for crazy stunts, actually pull something like this off? I mean, this right here really shows you the massive gap between who they were and what this challenge demanded of them. They're professional entertainers, right? Not sailors, not shipwrights. This wasn't just a test of their physical strength. It was a test of whether pure raw determination could somehow make up for a huge lack of experience. So, with the odds totally stacked against them, where do you even start? Well, their hope was literally built from trash. So let's see how they turned this desperate idea into a tangible floating object, starting with basically whatever the ocean washed up for them. What's amazing is they didn't just start lashing logs together and hoping for the best. Nope. They had a surprisingly logical plan. They actually built a little model first, then went out and gathered buoyant bamboo and repurposed washed-up junk like plastic barrels. Seriously, every single step was like a small victory in this massive, overwhelming project. And listen, building the boat, that was only half the battle. They were constantly fighting the island itself. We're talking venomous snakes, spiders, the crippling heat, and just swarms of bugs. I mean, this slide just lists a few, but to give you an idea, one of the guys, Nolan, had over 60 bites just on his arms and hands alone. It was brutal. After days and days of this grueling work, this was the moment, the breakthrough. Their makeshift hole, made of bamboo and plastic barrels, it actually floated. And you gotta understand, this wasn't just a test of buoyancy, it was a huge injection of hope. For the very first time, escaping seemed less like a fantasy and more like a real, tangible possibility. So, with a finished boat, the real test began. You see, leaving the island wasn't the end of the challenge. Oh no, it was the beginning of a whole new, and honestly, a much more dangerous part of the story. So the first few hours were just a disaster, one thing after another. Early fatigue quickly gave way to broken equipment. Then seasickness knocks out Chandler and Jimmy. And as if that wasn't bad enough, a brutal current in the channel starts threatening to pull them out into the endless Pacific. And this right here, this just captures the sheer physical agony they were in. This wasn't about just being tired anymore. Their bodies were literally shutting down from the nonstop effort under that baking sun. And through all of that, one crew member, Darius, was basically the engine of the entire raft. He paddled almost nonstop for the first 7 hours. I mean, think about that. 7 hours of relentless, back-breaking work. It was an absolutely incredible display of endurance that pretty much single-handedly kept their dream alive when other guys were just physically unable to go on. After hours of just total despair, something shifted. Just when they were about to give up, they got a second wind, and for a moment, it looked like they might actually make it. All of a sudden, the ocean wasn't their enemy anymore. The tide literally turned and started sucking them towards their destination. The impossible was happening. You could just feel the hope surging back into the crew. And the distance just starts to close, 1.7 miles. They can see the palm trees on the shore. The goal was finally in sight. The exhaustion was totally gone, replaced by pure adrenaline. They were pouring every last ounce of energy they had into paddling. Less than a mile to go. 0.8 miles. I mean, so close they could almost taste it. The excitement was just unbearable. You can just feel the relief and the triumph in that statement, right? After everything they'd been through, victory was right there. Half a mile, a distance you could swim. They were at the absolute peak of their journey, just minutes from stepping onto solid ground. And then the gut punch. The crucial turning point. The very same force of nature that had given them this miracle chance, it turned against them. The tide that was pulling them in, it reversed, and it started pushing them back out to sea. After 11 grueling hours on the water, after coming within half a mile of their goal, the ocean won. There was absolutely nothing more they could do. So, the physical journey was over, but the story wasn't. Because what do you take away from an experience like that, where you give every single thing you have only to fall short at the last possible second? And you can just hear the raw emotion. It's absolutely palpable. That's the devastating sound of watching your goal, something you have bled and suffered for, just slip right through your fingers. It's just complete heartbreak. And yet, out of all that devastation comes this new promise. The pain of this failure wasn't an ending. It became fuel. It was a declaration that this feeling, this loss, would not be repeated. In the end, no, they didn't reach the island. But they built a boat out of trash, they survived a hostile jungle, and they battled the open ocean for 12 hours straight. So it kind of leaves us with this question, right? If success is only measured by reaching the destination, then what do we call everything that happens along the way?